So good day everyone, this is Micah Paraso and I will be discussing about the pancreatic islets, from pancreatic islets to the common disorders of the system, which is the endocrine system. So pancreatic islets, we can see on the pancreas. So the islets of Langerhans, also called pancreatic islets. So these are the little masses of hormone producing tissue that are scattered among the enzymes. So the pancreas is the biggest gland in the endocrine system. So we can see here the pancreatic islets. So the hormones of these pancreatic islets has two important hormones produced by the islet cells. These are the insulin and the glucagon. So the insulin acts on all the body cells and increases their ability to transport glucose across the plasma membrane. And then these insulin are chemicals that helps you use energy from the food we eat. So this insulin acts as the chemical that helps we use the energy from the food we eat. So the food we eat is transformed into insulin so that this insulin will use for our energy. So the glucagon acts as the antagonist of insulin. So this glucagon is kalaban ng insulin. So it helps to regulate blood glucose levels. Primary target is in the liver. So it stimulates to break down stored glycogen into glucose and release the glucose in the blood. So this glucagon stimulates to break down the stored glycogen in the liver, and then this glycogen is break down into glucose, and that glucose will release in our blood. So there are three different cells: the islet cells, beta cells, and the alpha cells. So these islet cells acts as fuel sensors secreting insulin and glucagon appropriately during feed and fasting states. So these islets produce these two hormones, which is the insulin and the glucagon. So while the beta cells, high levels of glucose in the blood stimulate and release of insulin from the beta cells of the islet. So these beta cells release or produce the insulin hormone. So while the alpha cells, glucagon is released by the alpha cells of the islets is stimulated by low blood glucose levels. So these alpha cells will release glucagon, which is highly stimulated in the people which has low blood glucose level. So ito yung mga kulang ng mga sugar sa kanilang mga katawan. Well, the beta cells produce sa mga tao na matataas yung sugar levels or glucose levels. So that's all about the pancreatic islet. So let's move on the pineal gland. So pineal gland is also called the pineal body, is a cone-shaped gland. So you can see in the picture the pineal gland. So see that in the picture. And then the location of this pineal gland hangs from the roof of the third ventricle of the brain. So this pineal gland locates at the roof or hangs at the roof of the third ventricle of the brain. So you can see in the picture. And the hormones that is secreted by the pineal glands is the melatonin. So this is the only hormone that appears to be secreted in a substantial amount by pineal gland. So this is believed to be the sleep trigger. Melatonin rise and fall during the course of the day and night. So the peak levels occurs at night and make us drowsy or nakakatulog tayo sa night because this melatonin will fall on during night. So this will make us drowsy. So it plays important role in establishing the body's day and night cycle. So itong melatonin pala na sinisecrete or nire-release ng pineal gland this is important role during our body's day and night cycle. So this will fall in the night and this will rise in the morning. So this melatonin is important to our day and night cycle. So kung wala ito, hindi tayo makakatulog at hindi tayo makakabangon ng umaga. So ito yung nag-release sa brain natin para ganitong oras mabangon ako. Ganun. So this is the pineal gland hormone, which is the melatonin. So kaya siya tinawag na sleep trigger. So let's move on the thymus gland. So these thymus gland are large in infant and children and decreases in size throughout the adulthood. So this thymus helps to train white blood cells that protect our immune system. So it helps the white blood cells to train and protect, that will protect our immune system. So the location of this thymus gland is located in the upper thorax and posterior to the sternum. So as you can see in this picture, that when we are child and infant, it is large in size, but when we are throughout adulthood, it decreases in size. So the hormones which are secreted by the thymus gland is the thymosin. So this gland, or the thymus gland, and the others that appear to be essential for normal development of special group of white blood cells, so which are or the T lymphocytes or T cells, so and the immune response. So this thymosin stimulates the development of T cells. So this is important in the development of our T cells, and it helps our immune system to respond more, or to respond accurately. So this thymus or thymosin, throughout childhood years, white blood cells called lymphocytes pass through the thymus, where they are transformed into T cells. So that's all for the thymus gland. So let's move on the gonads. So this is the primary reproductive organs. So these gonads have two main articles, which is the female and the male reproductive system. So it has two hormones. So the hormones from the ovaries and the hormones of the testes. So these ovaries and testes makes sure that our body goes through the changes of puberty. So you can grow from a child to an adult. So these two reproductive system will help us to grow from a child to adult. So the hormones of the ovaries, so it is located in the pelvic cavity. So as we can see in the picture, that the ovaries are located in the pelvic cavity. So the steroid hormones, so ovaries produce two groups of steroid hormones. So these ovaries produce steroid hormones. So malalaman natin kung ano yung steroid hormones sa susunod na slides. So there are two hormones produced or released by the ovaries, which is the estrogen and the progesterone. So the estrogen is responsible for the development of sex characteristics in women at puberty and promote breast development and cyclic changes in the uterine lining. So this estrogen is the instrument in breast development, fat distribution in the hips, legs, and breast, and the development of reproductive organs. So this estrogen will help us to develop our breast. So the largest of the hips, or the distribution of the hips, legs, and our breast, and then the development of our reproductive organs. We girls develop this estrogen, develop the reproductive organs of the girls. So while the progesterone is during pregnancy, it quits the muscles of the uterus so that an implanted embryo will not be aborted, and helps prepare breast tissue for lactation. So this progesterone is secreted to prevent the uterine contraction that may disturb the growing embryo, also prepares the breast for lactation. So during the pregnancy, nakikita natin yung progesterone kasi sila yung nagsisecrete. So this ovary secreted progesterone to the pregnant woman so that it helps to prevent the uterine contractions that may disturb the growing embryo. So inaalagaan nila yung embryo, or yung laman ng tiyan nyo, or laman ng tiyan natin kung tayo ay pregnant na. So it is also the preparation of the breast for lactation. So nagpo-produce siya, or nagre-release ng hormones itong ovaries para matulungan yung embryo na nasa loob ng tiyan natin. And then it produces estrogen also for the development of our reproductive organs. So these two hormones that produced by the ovaries prepare the uterus for menstruation, and the release is triggered by the hypothalamus. So let's move on the hormones of the testes. So this testis is located in the suspended sac, the scrotum outside the pelvic cavity. So there are male sex hormones. So may isang hormones na nire-release ang testis. So the testis produce male sex hormones or androgens, of which testosterone is the most important. So nagpo-produce siya ng male sex hormones, or the androgens, which is the testosterone. So the testosterone is at puberty. Testosterone promote the growth and maturation of the reproductive system, that organs, to prepare the young man for reproduction. So testosterone is also necessary for the continuous production of sperm. So this testosterone is necessary for proper physical development in boys, primarily androgynous stimulants and or maintain the masculine development. So itong hormone na ito is nag-help for boys or for the man for reproduction. So during puberty, the testosterone is involved in many of the process that transition a boy to manhood. So this testosterone is not limited to puberty. So this is not limited only for the puberty of the boys. So throughout adulthood, the hormone is integral in a variety of functions such as maintaining libido, sperm production, maintaining muscle strength and mass, and promoting healthy bone density. So ito yung mga ginagawa ng testosterone sa mga lalaki para sila ay lumaki at mag-produce ng mga sperm. So let's move on the other hormones producing tissues and organs. So maliban sa endocrine system or sa mga major organs or tissues of endocrine system, it has also packets of hormone-producing cells that are found in fatty tissues and in the walls of the small intestine, stomach, kidneys, and heart organs, whose chief functions have little to do with hormone production. So maliban sa mga endocrine organs and tissues, marami pang nagpo-produce ng hormones sa small intestine, stomach, kidneys, and heart organs. So the functions of these are little to do with hormone production. So nagpo-produce rin sila ng mga hormones. So let's move on the placenta. So kung sino man yung mga nabuntis na or nagkaanak na is nagkaroon na sila ng placenta or nung binubuntis nila yung mga anak nila is nagkakaroon sila ng placenta. So this placenta is a remarkable organ formed temporarily in the uterus of pregnant women. So kung pregnant ka is mayroon kang placenta sa loob ng iyong tiyan. So the function of this is to produce several proteins and steroid hormones that help to maintain the pregnancy and pave the way of delivery of the body. So this is the main function of this will produce several proteins and steroid hormones so that the pregnancy will help and the delivery of the baby will also be easy. So the human chorionic gonadotropin or the HCG during very early pregnancy produced by the developing embryo and the fetal part of the placenta. And then the human placental lactogen or the HPL works cooperatively with the estrogen and progesterone in preparing the breast for lactation. So yung dalawang hormones na pinoproduce ng ovaries will prepare for the breast lactation. And the relaxin, another placental hormone, causes the mother's pelvic ligaments and the pubic symphysis to relax and become more flexible with easy birth passage. So this relaxin hormone will help the mother's pelvic ligaments and the pubic symphysis to relax and para malabas yung baby na maayos or easy for birth passage. So there are three hormones of placenta, which is the human chorionic gonadotropin or the HCG, and the human placental lactogen, which are the HPL, and the relaxin. So ito yung mga tatlong hormones na pinoproduce ng placenta para matulungan yung mga mother na ilabas yung baby nila na maayos at para matulungan yung baby na nasa loob na para mabuhay. So let's move on the physiology of the endocrine system. So although hormones have widespread effects, the major processes they control are reproduction, growth and development, mobilizing the body's defenses against stressors, maintaining electrolyte, water and nutrient balance of the blood, and regulating cellular metabolism and energy balance. So these are the main function or the physiology of the endocrine system. So the hormones have widespread effect, but the major control is the reproduction, mobilizing the body's defenses against stressor, maintaining electrolyte, water, nutrient balance. Yun yung mga main function ng endocrine system. So let's move on the chemistry of hormones. So the chemistry of hormones, which is hormones, is the chemical substances that are secreted by endocrine cells into the extracellular fluids and regulate metabolic activity and other cells in the body. So there are classifications of hormones, which are the steroid hormones and the amino acid-based hormones. So the steroid hormones, which is makikita natin sa hormones ng mga babae sa ovaries, made from cholesterol. So includes sex hormones made by the gonads and the hormones produced by the adrenal cortex. So this steroid hormones is the chemical messenger that are released in one tissue and transported through the circulatory system to one or more other tissues. So this is secreted to one or more tissues, which is makikita natin sa gonads ng babae. So the amino acid-based hormones is that all the other hormones that are non-steroidal amino acid derivatives, including proteins, peptides, and amines. So the amino acid or the protein and peptide is hormone consists of multiple amino acids that link to form an amino acid chain. And the peptide hormones consist short chains of amino acid. So the protein hormones are longer polypeptides. So we have here the examples of the hormones from pancreas, hormones from adrenal gland, gonads, thyroid gland, and parathyroid gland. So makikita natin dyan yung mga hormones and kung anong classification ng hormones mayroon ang isang hormone. So for example, the insulin and the glucagon from pancreas or the pancreatic islet. So this produce the protein hormone. And the adrenal, from the adrenal, we have adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. The medulla is the amine hormones, and the adrenal cortex is the steroid hormones. So from the gonads, which is the testes, the androgen is steroid hormone, the ovaries, estrogen is the steroid hormone, and the pineal gland, which is the melatonin, is the amine hormone, and the thymus, which is the thymosin hormone, is peptide hormone. And then from the thyroid gland, we have T3 and T4, which is amine, the calcitonin, which is peptide hormone, and the parathyroid gland, which is the P4, is the peptide hormone. So let's move on to the mechanisms of hormone action. So the target cells are specific protein receptors must be present on its plasma membrane or its interior to which that hormone can attach. So the function of hormones is that the hormones bring about their effects on the body cells primarily by altering cellular activity, increasing or decreasing the rate of a normal or usual metabolic process rather than stimulating a new one. So the function of our hormones is increasing or decreasing the normal rate which is produced by the hormones rather than processing or stimulating a new hormones. So the changes in hormone binding is the precise change that follow hormone binding depend on the specific hormone and the target cell type. But typically, one or more of the following occurs. Number one, changes in plasma membrane permeability or electrical state, synthesis of protein or certain regulatory molecules such as enzymes in the cells, the activation or inactivation of enzymes, the stimulation of mitosis, and lastly, promotion of secretory activity. So let's move on to the control of hormone release. So hormone production and release are primarily controlled by negative feedback. In negative feedback systems, stimulus elicits the release of a substance. Once the substance reaches a certain level, it sends a signal that stops further release of the substance. So this negative feedback system is release a substance, which is that substance, if it released to the current or certain level, so it sends signals to stop further release of substance. So ginagawa niya is nagre-release siya ng substance. So yung certain level na dapat lang i-release ng isang substance is mag-signal na naman to stop further release of the substance. So ganun yung trabaho ng negative feedback. So yung mga hormones na nire-release ng endocrine system will be following the negative feedback mechanism or the negative feedback system. So we have here endocrine gland stimuli. So activate the endocrine gland organs fall into three major categories. So we have endocrine gland stimuli, which has three. The three are hormonal stimuli, humoral stimuli, and the neural stimuli. And the hormonal stimuli refers to release a hormone in response to another hormone. So a number of endocrine gland release hormones when stimulated by hormones released by either endocrine gland. So this hormonal stimuli is referred to a release of hormone and the response of another hormone. So we have here the hormonal process. And the second one is the humoral stimuli. So it is referred to a control of hormone release in response to changes in extracellular fluids such as blood or the ion concentration in blood. So this is referred to the control of hormone release. So ito naman yung gumagawa ng mga nagko-control ng mga i-release ng isang hormone. And then, the last one is the neural stimuli, which is the nervous system directly stimulates endocrine glands to release hormones. So the nervous system is directly stimulated in the endocrine glands so that it can release hormones. So makikita naman natin dito yung mga process ng hormonal, neural, at neural. So it is the control mechanisms of hormones release. So, ito yung mga nagko-control ng mga release ng isang hormones. So tingnan naman natin kung ano yung mga common disorders makikita natin sa endocrine system and sa mga organs ng endocrine system. So first, we have here the polycystic ovary syndrome, or the PCOS. So this hormonal imbalance causes women with PCOS to have irregular periods, abnormal hair growth, and excess acne and weight gain. So we have here the example of the ovary which has the polycystic ovary syndrome. So makikita natin na yung healthy ovary has no cysts, and the polycystic ovary has lots of cysts in the ovaries. So, makikita rin naman natin kung ano yung mga symptoms ng PCOS and kung ano yung mga dapat natin gawin para malunasan ang PCOS. So, we have here the symptoms of hair loss, hirsutism, pelvic pain, so kung nasasakit yung ating pelvic, infertility, overweight, irregular periods, fatigue, high testosterone levels, and acne. So we have here also how to paano malunasan yung PCOS. So fertility friendly eating tips of PCOS. So eat a bigger breakfast and smaller dinner. So include more protein and greens. And then when you eat carbohydrates, make them complex carbs. So dapat kung kakain tayo ng mga carbohydrates, complex lang, dapat low carbs lang. So, sa ating kasi mga Pilipino is, pag kumain tayo ng mga tinapay, kakain pa tayo ng kanin, and then, nagdubli-dubli na yung ating carbohydrates, so dapat iwasan na natin. And then, if you eat sweets or a high-carb food, combine it with healthy food. So, ganun, kung kakain tayo ng carbohydrates, dapat sinasamahan natin ng mga healthy fats, katulad ng pag kakain tayo ng bread, dapat samahan natin ng healthy fats. And then, the second common disorder is the second one is hyperglycemia, and the hyperglycemia occurs when blood sugar levels are too high. So, yung nire-release ng ating organ, produce ng insulin and glucagon. So, hypoglycemia sets in when blood sugar levels are too low. So, the hyperglycemia is nagre-release ng high blood sugar, while the hypoglycemia is nagre-release ng low blood sugar. So, the immediate treatment for hypoglycemia is to have some food or drink that contain sugar, such as dextrose, tablets or fruit juice to correct your blood glucose levels. So, after having something sugary, you may need to have a longer-acting starchy carbohydrate food, such as sandwich or a few biscuits. And then you can give them sugary drinks such as cola, lemonade, fruit juice, and isotonic sports drinks, and sweet food such as jelly beans, chocolate, and sugar cubes. So, sa mga nagkakaroon ng low blood sugar or the hypoglycemia, kailangan natin silang bigyan ng mga sugar content ng mga food. So, dapat maparami yung mga sugar nila. So, kailangan hindi rin yung much sugar kasi magkakaroon din sila ng hyperglycemia. And then, makikita naman natin dito kung ano yung mga symptoms ng hypoglycemia and the hyperglycemia. So, makikita natin sa picture. And then, makikita rin natin yung mga yung normal na sugar, and then yung may hypoglycemia and may hyperglycemia na sugar. Yes. And lastly is the common disorders of endocrine systems. So, this is the hypothyroidism or the underactive thyroid, and the hyperthyroidism, which is the overactive thyroid. So, makikita natin yung hypothyroidism kung underactive yung thyroid niya, at makikita natin yung hyperthyroidism sa overactive na thyroid. So, it happens when the thyroid gland fails to produce enough hormone. So, this is makikita natin sa mga people that is yung thyroid gland nila, or thyroid hormone is hindi nag-produce or fails to produce enough hormones. And then the hyperthyroidism is the overactive thyroid. So ito naman yung mga people na yung thyroid hormones nila is na-produce ng too much thyroid gland hormones, which is the T4. So, as kung makikita natin, nandito naman yung symptoms ng hypothyroidism at symptoms ng hyperthyroidism. So, makikita rin natin dito yung people with hyperthyroidism and the people with hypothyroidism. So, that's all for our report about the endocrine system. Hope you have something to learn or something that is learned about our report, and do not hesitate to ask questions or PM us about the endocrine system. So, thank you for listening.